I mean, I think in poker, it's the easiest one to answer, right? Because poker, unlike the stock market, is a circumscribed environment. It is ultimately a game. And so I think that what you need to realize is that you need to have the correct strategy that you know is the winning strategy, and be willing to suffer a lot of short-term losses. But you don't know what the short term is. You don't know if the short term is a month. You don't know if it's a year. You don't know if it's several years. You actually don't know how long your downswing might go, because even if you are correct, let's say 73% of the time, maybe you are in the part of the distribution right now that's the 27% where you're actually just making the right decisions, but the cards are going against you. And it's very, very easy. You know, it's human nature to then change your strategy and to say, uh-oh, something is wrong. And I think what's very difficult is to figure out, am I actually in the bad part of the distribution, or do I need to question and go back and question my decision-making process? What's going on? And
how do you make that evaluation?
so it's different. In poker, you have data. Right? You have immediate feedback, and there are only so many variables. In the stock market, I think it's much more difficult because human psychology really tries to find the exceptions. People don't like saying, you know, I've been thinking about this wrong all the time. There's so many things that you can point to as to why you personally are an amazing trader, but you happen to lose money this year because you're actually right about everything. But this went against you and that went against you. And in the real world, you have so many excuses that you can constantly call upon. So instead of clarifying your decision-making process, you say, oh, it's not me. And if everything's going well, you say, oh, it is me. But if you look at some of the data on stock market behaviors, a lot of professional investors I've spoken with will not believe it just because they say, well, this can't actually happen. Like, for instance, studies all over the world that show that stock markets go down on rainy days. I mean, how rational is that? When people are in countries that really are big sports fans, on days of major victories, stock markets tend to go up. When there are major sports losses, stock markets tend to go down. We often make decisions on those types of things, but we think that we're going through a very specific decision-making process. And in poker, you actually have the opportunity to disentangle those things because you do have limited inputs. And so I think that if all investors were also poker players, then they could actually then take that mindset to their professional life. Unfortunately, I think it's much easier said in a theory than in practice.